Welcome to Coruzant Technologies, home of the Digital Executive Podcast. Welcome to the Digital Executive. Today's guest is Karen Ross. People come to Karen when they are gripped with anxiety and stress, even though they may be successful and high-performing in business and personally. As a certified hypnotherapist, she helps them overcome these overwhelming feelings with techniques used by some of the most celebrated and successful people, like Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Oprah, Elon Musk, many actors and performers, even historical figures like Winston Churchill and Albert Einstein. These are just a few of who have used hypnotherapy to solve seemingly insurmountable problems. Hypnosis is used now in world-famous medical settings like Mayo Clinic and Cleveland Clinic. Karen also helps people become non-smokers, lose or gain weight, sleep soundly, and relieve chronic pain. People ask her, will hypnosis help with blank? She answers with a resounding yes. A former radio show host, she now enjoys helping people find freedom from issues that have often troubled them for years. Well, good afternoon, Karen. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Brian. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Karen, this is so exciting. Get to talk to really somebody that I can resonate with. And as you know, I'd mentioned previously that I have experience with hypnotherapy, and this is something that I really get into. So we're going to jump right into the questions because I want to get your story out to our audience. So Karen, talking about your career as an entrepreneur, you've radio show producer and host, executive recruiter. Now you're the founder and principal of KarenRossNow.com. Could you share with our audience the secret to your career growth and what inspires you?
Well, I don't know that there is a secret as such, but just by virtue of that short list you gave, I've often referred to my career as kind of a portfolio career because I've done so many different things and have found myself in positions where I had to pivot and do something very different from what I was used to doing. And most recently, which would have been about 12, 13 years ago, I was at a real crossroads and hired a personal coach to help me determine where do I go next. And this was at the end of my radio career. And radio falls under the category of entertainment, which is a very fickle industry. You can be on the air one day and off the next day, depending on what the owners of the station choose to do. And that's kind of what had happened to me. So I hired a coach who encouraged me to become trained to be a coach, which was how this current career started. And so I did coaching for a number of years, but then discovered a particular program called Rapid Transformational Therapy, which was based on hypnosis. And what attracted me to it was that word rapid. I always felt that people didn't have to spend months and sometimes years in a therapist's office to help heal or fix an issue that they had been dealing with. So I was very attracted to that whole concept and was really taken by the whole idea of hypnosis and what it can accomplish for people. So I'm glad to hear that you ventured into that world. I don't know if you want to tell us a little bit about your experience with.
Yeah, I can dive into it just real quick, Karen. My first opportunity or exposure to it was actually a talent show, and the main part of the show was a hypnotherapist, and it was more of a fun thing, but it actually worked on me. I didn't believe it, but I have video proof. It was a long time ago, and I made a fool of myself that evening, but I couldn't believe it was really happening. And I still don't believe it after that, but I looked at the video, and long story short, over the course of some time and some reading, I've actually engaged with professional hypnotherapists, and they are amazing. So there's my little story on that, but I believe in it. It really does work. And I wish more people would look at that as an alternative way besides of just going to the doctor and taking a bunch of pills, you know?
So absolutely. Well, we're of the same mindset there for sure. And it's interesting that you mentioned your introduction to hypnosis, and that's stage hypnosis, which is a whole nother world. And it's not something I have done, but I have definitely used it from a therapeutic standpoint. And I do encourage people to explore it as a means of healing or working through an issue, could be an emotional issue, but we work on physical situations and emotional pain, physical pain. People have been dealing with chronic pain for many, many years. We find resolution. Sometimes we can get rid of the pain, but if not, we can change it. We can change an individual's perception of physical pain that they're going through. When it comes to emotional situations, often our first step is to find out, where did it get started? Where did it come from? And it's amazing how we can uncover a belief that was formed very, very early in life sometimes. And when the individual comes to the understanding of that belief and they take a look at it and say, well, I don't need to believe that anymore. And then we can get rid of the belief. It really is that simple in many, many cases, not all cases, obviously. But there are just so many areas in which hypnotherapy can be the solution. And I like to say that it is often the fastest, the most reliable, the safest, and the longest lasting solution to so many issues. And so it's now recognized in the medical community. I know it's used in world famous medical institutions like Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic. So that to me says a lot. If the medical scene has adapted, endorses the use of hypnosis, that gives it a lot of credibility. And recently I decided to do a little exploration and find out who are some of the famous people who have used hypnosis. And I was just amazed at the list I came up with. It's very widely used in the world of sports and certainly competitive sports, but there are professional teams that have an on-site hypnotist or someone that they can reach out to whenever they need to. And the athletic champions use it on a regular basis. Performers use it. I recently read where one actor was doing some work in Hawaii, and the way the report was written, it said he flew his personal hypnotist over to Hawaii to help him with a particular issue. If he needs another hypnotist, I'm on board. You know, he can fly me over to Hawaii to help him with an issue at any time. Yeah, but people going down through history, presidents, Winston Churchill, Albert Einstein are some of the famous people who've been known to use hypnotherapy to help them with a variety of issues. It really kind of runs the gamut.
Absolutely. Thank you for diving into that. And again, it definitely is being more and more recognized in the healthcare arena. So I appreciate that. And Karen, next question here for you. We talked about, I did experience hypnosis and I embrace this form of therapy for sure. However, many people are still skeptical about it. Could you share some success stories or reasons why a person should try hypnotherapy?
Well, I think what I'd like to do is dispel at least a couple of the myths that people come to me with. The first one, and I think this may be the main one, people fear losing control, that they're giving up control. They absolutely are not giving up control. They are always in complete control. If our session gets interrupted for any reason, they can take care of whatever they need to take care of, and then we come back and pick up right where we left off. But they are never in a position that they will do something that they wouldn't have wanted to do or wouldn't have done naturally. And of course, I'm working with people to help them heal something that they want to change. So those are the only messages that I'm going to give them. And, you know, what we're doing in a simplified manner, we're quieting the conscious mind, which is always active. It's always talking to us. It's always judging. And it's just kind of at us all the time. And we quiet the conscious mind so that we can reach the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is just there to serve us, give us information that it holds for us from the past, and to accept new information and change those beliefs that have not served us well. success stories, well, I wouldn't even know where to start because there are so many. And one of the areas that people come to me with is sleep issues. A lot of people have trouble with sleep nowadays. And, maybe they go to sleep, but they can't stay asleep, or wake in the middle of the night, can't go back to sleep. And I not only work with them through hypnotherapy, but I teach them self-hypnosis tools that they can use on their own when they wake up at 4:00 in the morning. I've had that happen myself. And so people can learn self-hypnosis techniques. If they're afraid of somebody else, working with their mind, I teach them how to work with their own mind, which just has incredible healing power.
That's awesome. Thank you. And you just, again, reinforced for maybe some of the skeptics out there in our audience that, have thought about it and just may have not tried it yet, but I really do appreciate you diving into that. And so, Karen, we are a tech podcast, a tech platform. We like to ask everybody, doesn't matter what your background, if you're leveraging any of that new and emerging technologies in your business. And if not, is there a cool tool you can share with our listeners?
Well, I'm not using technology anywhere near to the capacity I'm sure I could, but I'm using it a lot more than I ever thought I would. So I hope that counts. But I guess one of the areas where I should be doing more is with social media. And I have ventured into LinkedIn and started to get a little bit more familiar with social media, knowing that it would be good for my practice. And as I say, I think I'm doing some things from a technology standpoint that I never dreamed I would do. You and I chatted a little bit about Chat GPT and AI. I understand that somebody said there are over 2,000 AI platforms that people can use. And yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Now, my work is very personalized. Every client that I work with, the information I put together for them is very customized to their issue and exactly what they want to accomplish. And so I haven't used AI to any great extent. I think if I'm writing something for general readership, then I might be more likely to reach out and see what that would have to offer. But as far as my individual one-on-one work, that's very personalized. When you and I were talking, I know I made the comment that people in the technology world, as much as anybody, should be exploring hypnosis because they work and they think at the speed of thought, which is very, very quick, very fast. And if they can learn a technique or utilize a technique that can help them heal at the speed of thought, what better way to resolve an issue that someone might have been dealing with for a very, very long time?
Absolutely.
I don't know if that answered your question. I think I kind of skirted around your question a little bit, but
no, that was great. I appreciate, your contribution to the conversation here. We did talk before we hit record, and there's a lot of apps, even in the mental health space, that are helping people. And what you say resonates with me and many of our guests, I'm sure. So thank you, Karen. And Karen, it was such a pleasure having you on today, and I look forward to speaking with you real soon.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your having me on, and I'd love to do it again. Thanks, Brian.
Bye for now.